counting out change slowly, 1 quarter at a time, placing each coin carefully in my palm. His fingers were damp and cold. They lingered on my hand with each coin.
You know, I get lonely out here,
he said quietly, still holding my hand.
My wife died 2 years ago. It's just me now.
I pulled my hand back, stepping away.
I'm sorry for your loss. Here's your pizza.
He still didn't take it. Instead, he leaned even closer. His breath was hot on my face.
Why don't you come inside for a minute, sweetheart?
He said. His voice had dropped lower, like we were sharing a secret.
Just for a minute. I want to show you something.
Every alarm in my head went off.
No, thank you. I need to leave.
Oh, come on. It's my wife's necklace. Real pearls. It's worth a ton.
He gestured toward the dark interior of the house. I couldn't see anything past the doorway.
I'll give it to you. All you gotta do is come inside and do me one small favor.
The way he said favor made my stomach turn. I shoved the pizza box at him and ran. I could hear his footsteps behind me, but I was already dashing toward the car.
I paid for the pizza. The least you could do is be grateful. Come inside for 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking.
He yelled, but I didn't stop.
You fucking tease! You come here dressed like that, smiling at me, and then you act like you're too good? You led me on. You're a liar. A cock tease.
His voice followed me down the walkway. He was screaming. I fumbled with my car keys, hands shaking so badly I almost dropped them. I could hear his footsteps on the porch. I yanked the car door open, threw myself inside, and slammed it shut. I hit the lock button just as he made it to the car. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely get the keys in the ignition. He was at my window now. His face was pressed against the glass. His mouth was twisted, and his eyes were wild. He was pounding on the window with his fist.
You fucking bitch! I know where you work! I'll find you! I'll fucking find you!
The engine started. I threw it in reverse and gunned it, tires screeching. I didn't look back until I was 3 blocks away. I pulled over on a side street and just sat there. My whole body was shaking. I couldn't catch my breath. I kept seeing his face pressed against my window as he hurled profanities at me. I called my manager Tony and told him what happened. I quit 2 days later. Tony left voicemail saying I was unprofessional. I could hardly care. I'm 23 now, working at a coffee shop where I don't have to go to strangers' houses, where there are always other people around. But I still think about that night, about how close I became to being dragged inside, and what would have happened if he could manage it. The order came through at 11:45. They wanted 1 large pepperoni, breadsticks, and a can of Sprite delivered to Oak Hill Old Cemetery. I stared at my phone, thinking someone was messing with me, but the system confirmed cash on delivery, and I needed the money for the month's rent. The cemetery was 10 minutes out, past the old part of town where half the streetlights didn't work. I'd driven past it before, but had never been inside. The GPS took me to the main entrance through the big iron gates, which stood wide open. The path inside was narrow gravel that crunched under my tires. My headlights swept across rows of headstones. Some were so old and weathered you couldn't read the names anymore. As I went deeper, the path grew rougher and tree branches scraped against my windows. My palms grew sweaty at the sight of endless darkness and headstones, and I couldn't see a single soul out there. I cursed whoever thought making me drive in the middle of the night was funny, and was about to turn around when I saw someone near an old mausoleum, waving at me. I pulled over and grabbed the order. The guy was maybe 40, wearing jeans and a dark hoodie. He was breathing hard, like he'd been running. He took the boxes from me, but instead of reaching for his wallet, he started staring at me. His face was pale and slick with sweat, and his stares were making me uneasy. Dude, the money? I said, shuffled on my shoe and looked elsewhere. That's when I noticed his hands were covered in blood that was dripping onto the gravel. Wide-eyed, I looked over his shoulder to see more blood smeared across the mausoleum wall behind him. Not what you think, buddy. I cut it climbing a fence. He chuckled, sensing my horror. How much do I owe you? He pulled out crumpled, muddy bills from his pocket. When he handed them over, his fingers left red smears on the 20. Some blood even dripped onto the pizza box. I took the money quickly. My stomach was turning. Everything about this felt wrong. I was heading back to my car when I heard footsteps from behind the mausoleum. I turned slightly and saw another man limping around the corner. He was slightly older, maybe 50, and was dragging his left leg, using the wall to keep himself upright. His jeans were torn at the thigh with a red rag tied around them, soaked completely through with blood. You got it? He grunted. Right here, the first guy replied. The second guy nodded and started limping forward. His face was drenched in sweat, and his eyes had this unfocused, glassy look. He was breathing in short, raspy gasps that didn't sound right. We just need the food, the first guy said to me. Gotta eat before it gets worse. The second guy took another step, and his leg gave out. He collapsed onto the gravel, the rag shifted, and I saw the wound underneath. It was a massive gash, deep enough that I could see white bone underneath. The edges looked ragged and torn, like something had ripped into him. I dropped the bloody 20 and bolted to my car. My heart was pounding as I slammed the door and locked it. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely get the keys in the ignition. Behind me, the men started screaming for me to come back. I threw it in reverse. The tires spun on the loose gravel as I drove. I felt something soft give way under my back tire. It was a sickening thump, and the car had lurched, but I didn't stop to check. I just wanted to get away. I tore out of there as branches whipped against my windows. The whole way down the path, I could hear screaming behind me. You left us! You left us here to bleed! I made it back to the main road and kept driving until I was back in town with streetlights and other cars around me. I pulled over because the odor of blood and rot was filling my entire car. It had gotten so unbearable that I was gagging. I pulled into a gas station parking lot and got out to check my tires. The back right one had something dark smeared all across the treads. It could be blood mixed with bits of fabric or maybe flesh. I couldn't tell, and I didn't want to get any closer. I threw up right there next to my car and later called the police from inside the gas station. Told them everything. They said they'd send someone to check it out. I drove home with all my windows down, trying to get rid of the smell. It didn't work. For 3 days, my car reeked of blood so badly I couldn't stand to sit inside it. I finally had to pay someone to deep clean the whole interior. The cops called me back 2 days later. They'd searched Oak Hill Cemetery top to bottom and found nothing unusual. They asked if I was sure about the address, if maybe I'd gotten confused in the dark and gone to the wrong place. But I know what I saw and drove through.